This is AgriCountry, brought to you in part by Alice Chalmers and your nearby Alice Chalmers dealer. And here's your host for AgriCountry, Ed Johnson.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to AgriCountry. This week we're going to begin the show by taking you down to one of Ohio's largest fertilizer manufacturing plants, Mid-Ohio Chemical at Washington Courthouse down in Fayette County. From there, we're going to take you up north into Ashland County to the family dairy operation of Tom Krantz. And also, in the show today, we'll visit with the outstanding young farmer of the Ohio Young Farmers Association, Rick Unger. His farming operation is down in southwest Ohio. Welcome to AgriCountry.
Your Alice Chalmers dealer is offering some powerful reasons to buy an AC 5030 or 5020 diesel-powered tractor. Both of these mighty 25 and 31 horsepower Alice Chalmers diesels give you 12 forward speeds plus differential lock. And right now you'll find big savings on diesel power at your nearby Alice Chalmers dealer's place. Planting time in Ohio means a time for fertilizer, and there'll be thousands of tons of fertilizer applied this planting season. This week we take you into Fayette County at the edge of Washington Courthouse with the Mid-Ohio Chemical Company, where they manufacture AgriCare fertilizer. And we're going to take you inside, up into the control room, and visit with plant manager Don Bruner. Don, certainly nice to be here at Mid-Ohio Chemical, where they do manufacture AgriCare fertilizer. And for you viewing friends, if you catch some vibration in this picture, well, we're clear up in the top of this facility at the control room, and there is vibration because of the very large equipment that's in motion right now. When we talk about AgriCare fertilizer and Mid-Ohio Chemical, Don, how much of an area do you people serve?
Well, we cover 5 states. Ohio is our main market area.
How many different analyses of fertilizers would be manufactured here?
Well, we manufacture about 12 different grades.
What would be the most popular analysis that go out of here?
Well, our largest tonner and the most popular one is 624-24.
It still is today?
It still is.
And now I want you, because we're going to be manufacturing today 624-24, and I want you to take our viewing friends from the start to the finish.
Okay. Basically, we receive our liquids, which is the nitrogen is the anhydrous ammonia, and the phosphoric acid, which is our phosphate source. They are received in tank cars, and then the potash, of course, which is a solid. It is either trucked down from the lake, or we receive it in hopper cars, unload it, and run it into our raw material storage area.
I understand, Don, that the potash practically all comes from Canada.
That's right. That's right. Then, of course, the dry material, which is mainly potash, is weighed into a batch, brought over to the granulation area, and is metered in by a scale hopper. A conveyor sits on a scale hopper, and it has a variable speed on it. That determines the rate we run per hour, and then the liquids are fed accordingly to that rate. We run, try to average about 20 tons an hour on almost all the grades.
Don, I have here in my hand, and this just came out, just manufactured. When we think of fertilizer, and everybody thinks of a gray material, granular-like material, but you just shared with our viewing friends that we're talking about quite a bit of liquid, that the only thing that really comes in dry is the potash.
That's true.
Well, how do we get to these little gray granulars?
Okay, this process is a crystallization of ammonium phosphate sulfate, which goes to solids by the ammoniation rate, and it just wraps around the potash particle, which is 624 units of potash in there, which is red. It doesn't show up red because the ammonium phosphate sulfate is just saturated all the way around that. That's what makes it a homogeneous product.
So some of the manufacturers we do see some colors, they've just simply added the colors.
Yeah, you can add coloring to this if you like. We don't. I mean, this is the natural color.
The natural, good old gray.
Yeah.
You bet. I'm curious. We talk a lot about bulk fertilizer. Will you put more tonnage out of this plant in the bulk than you will in the bag?
No, I believe it's about 75% bagged or maybe 70% bagged and 30% bulk.
Don, as large as this plant is, it would appear to this farm broadcaster that maintenance would be a critical factor.
It is a constant problem.
Because we know with fertilizer that it just eats away at motors,
right.
engines, equipment.
That's right. It is very difficult. We, for instance, in this, which in some sense of a big complex is a small plant, we have about 6 maintenance people all the time. This is seasonal. We do not run during about 3 months in the summer, and then we have all our 25 employees on maintenance, maintaining the equipment.
How does Mid-Ohio Chemical stack up as we talk about independent manufacturing plants nationwide?
Well, we would probably be one of the largest independent one in the United States. There's not very many independent ones around, but we would compare in size, equal in size with the independents that are around.
Don, we're to spring of '82. What about fertilizer supply?
In '82,
right now,
I think there's going to be plenty of supply. This, of course, are hard times, and we feel we'll have plenty for our customers.
Dry as well as liquid?
Yes, dry as well as liquid.
But the liquid's not manufactured here. Where is that manufactured?
We have a liquid plant at Mount Sterling, which makes a high-grade liquid mix. It's what they would call a Cadillac in the liquid industry. It's a high-grade acid. It's a very good product.
Our guest, Don Bruner, as we talk to you from the control room, Mid-Ohio Chemical, where they manufacture AgriCare fertilizer here at Washington Courthouse, Ohio. When you think combine, I want you to think Gleaner. Remember that your Alice Chalmers dealer has both the rotary and conventional in 6 different sizes. The Gleaner gives you more capacity, more productivity, and more value for your dollars invested. See your Alice Chalmers dealer today. Today, AgriCountry taking you into Richland County for the first time. We're about 18 miles north of Mansfield, Ohio, at the dairy operation of Tom and Carol Kranz. And from this spot, we're going to go into the milking parlor, visit with Tom, visit with Dave Harris, who is a full-time employee here at the farm. Then we're going to visit with son Lauren, who is a sophomore, Plymouth Vo Ag Department. That's not very far from here. We'll visit with him out at the calf pen. And also with us for the broadcast, Todd, who is at Ohio State, the Ag College there, a major in dairy science and ag education. And then from the barn lot, we're going to go into the house and visit with Carol, who keeps the records for this dairy operation. What you viewing friends are seeing right now is something that happens across the state of Ohio early every morning and late every afternoon. Not Monday through Friday, 7 days a week. Tom, it's nice to be at your farm. How many cows are you milking now here this spring?
We run 85 to 90 head at all times, usually have between 75 and 80 milking.
How many acres in this dairy operation?
We have 80 acres on the farm where the dairy is. There's 400 acres in our total operation.
With that 400 acres, are you able to market any grain?
The only grain we market is the wheat. The rest of the feed that is growing on the farm is fed through the livestock.
Tom, we've been at several different operations, dairy operations with AgriCountry. There are different milking setups. Explain the setup that you have here.
We have a universal milking system here with the weigh jars. These weigh jars are calibrated on the side here in pounds. And once each month, we read the number of pounds of milk that each cow gives. We record that on a sheet, and it is sent to DHI Record Center at Provo, Utah. And each month we are sent back a computer sheet giving all the information on the cows.
Universal system's a very popular system. Have you been pleased with it?
We have been very pleased with the system.
Trace the milk. It's coming from the cows into the jars. Take it from here, Tom.
After the milk comes from the cows and goes into the jars, when the cow is finished milking, we take the milkers off. We can read the pounds if we so desire, or we can just glance and see how much the cow is given. Then we open the valves at the bottom of the jar. The milk then goes up these hoses and goes into a stainless steel line up at the ceiling. From there it goes into the bulk tank in the milk house. The bulk tank holds the milk at 38 degrees. And then every other day, a bulk truck comes and picks up the milk from the bulk tank.
What size bulk tank do you have here?
We have a 1,000-gallon tank on the farm.
And any idea how big the tank might be on the truck that comes in to get it?
The truck that comes in has a 5,000-gallon tank.
Tom, I'm going to ask you to kind of trade places now with the gentleman that assists you here at the farm, with Dave Harris. And Dave, if you can move right in here, because I want to go back to this jar, Dave. Do you feed in regards to production per cow?
Yes, we do. We control the amount of grain we give them here in the parlor, and then the cows that give over 55 pounds of milk a day, we put a magnet on them, or a chain on them, and they can eat from a magnetic feeder.
And are you feeding silage or haylage?
Yes, we are, both silage and hay.
How many hours a day will you spend with the cows?
I'll spend probably 4 hours here in the parlor and another hour or two a day out around the cows, working with them out on the lot.
As an employee of the Krantz farm, Dave, will your involvement be totally with the cows, or do you pretty much get involved with the whole operation?
I pretty much get involved with the whole operation. I get in on the field work and everything.
But you must enjoy working with the cows.
Yeah, I enjoy it a lot.
Well, it's certainly a challenge. A number of dairying people across the state, Dave, are now doing their own artificial insemination. What about here?
Yeah, we do our own breeding artificially. We got a better selection of bulls that way. We don't have to have a bunch of bulls on the farm.
Do you do that for Tom?
Yes, I do.
How difficult is it to learn that technique?
It's not real difficult. I went to a school in Tiffin, put on by NOBA.
Good friends of ours. How many cows did it take for you to really get the feel of the technique?
We practiced on probably a dozen cows for a day for 3 days up there before we got it down pat.
What kind of conception rate are you getting?
We're about 1.7 per service right now.
Well, Dave, nice to be with you. I've been talking with Dave Harris, who assists the Krantz operation. And we're going to leave the milking parlor now and go out to the calf pens and visit with Lauren, because he's the guy at this operation that takes care of feeding the calves. As in any dairy operation, practices will vary. You'll find some of the dairymen in Ohio that will keep all of their heifer calves, feed them out till they're of milk age. Others may sell all the bull calves when they are just vealers. At this farm, they feed out the heifers and the bulls. And Lauren, nice to be out here as a part of your activity here at the farm. This is the first time on AgriCountry we've actually shown the individual boxes and pens for the calves. How long have you been into this kind of a practice?
We've been in for about a year now.
Have you been pleased with the results?
Yes.
Why did you go to the boxes?
We were having trouble with disease spread, weren't getting enough fresh air to the calves, so we moved them out here where they have more fresh air and disease won't spread as much.
And with individual pens, it keeps them separate. Mm-hmm. And you help that situation as well. How soon do you bring them out here?
We bring them out as soon as they're born, and they'll stay out here for about maybe a month and a half.
We had a pretty tough kind of a winter. How did the calves do out here?
They did okay. A couple of them, they'd get cold and get snow in the hut, but we just put more straw in, kept the snow out as much as possible.
Lauren, would be my guess that these calves might be a part of your VOAG projects.
Yes.
How many calves would be involved?
I've got 2 right now.
What would be some of the other projects that you have?
I've got 2 dairy cows. One is registered. I've got 10 acres of corn this year, and I've got 15 feeder steers I'm feeding out right now.
What are your plans after you finish high school? Like Brother Todd, would you head off to Ohio State, or just what?
I figured probably going to a college and then coming back to the farm.
Todd, certainly nice to be here at your farm. We got to know Todd a couple of years ago when he was the vice president of the Ohio FFA officer team, and I appreciate the fact you taking time to come away from classes down at Ohio State to be with us on the broadcast. How far along are you now at Ohio State?
Well, this year I'm a first quarter senior this quarter, and it feels good to be in your last year and getting ready to wind down a college career.
What do you plan to do after you finish at the Ag College at Ohio State? Will you come back here at the farm or seek other employment in agriculture?
Well, my plans right now include coming back here. We've got some expansion plans for the farm, and I think my future is in the dairy industry, and I really like to farm, and I've got a dual major in ag education and possibly sometime teach somewhere along the line, but right now the plans are to come back to the farm.
What about the other guys at Ohio State and the Ag College? Are a number of them planning to go back to the farm or go into production agriculture?
It probably depends on whether they've got a farm to go back to, because it's, especially at this time, it's hard to start off in the dairy industry or in any industry in farming, but there are still quite a good number of jobs available in sales and service, and so a lot of them are going the other routes unless they've got a farm at home they can go to.
We have high school students viewing the program right now, Todd, perhaps contemplating, debating whether they should head off to Ohio State and enroll in the College of Agriculture. Why would you recommend that they do that?
Well, without a college education in any field today, it's going to be a little tough, because the jobs that are available depend on training, and without training, especially college training, why it's going to be hard to go anywhere to get a really good job nowadays.
As you look back over the last 3 years, are you pleased with the kind of training that you are receiving at Ohio State?
Oh, yes, very much so. I think a lot of people are afraid of Ohio State because they say it's way too big, but the College of Agriculture is really a friendly place. We've got about 3,000 to 5,000 students, and you really get to know most of the people there. It's no bigger than some large high schools, and it's a good feeling to go there and know that the other people around you know who you are, and it's not as big as everyone thinks.
Todd, nice to see you, and best of luck the rest of the senior year.
It's good to see you too, Ed.
Carol, certainly nice to be at your home, and just a beautiful farm home, it really is.
Thank you.
A number of wives take care of the books. We well know that that's part of your responsibility to this family farm. How many hours a week might you be involved with bookkeeping, record keeping that would involve the dairy herd and the grain operation?
Well, with everything combined, it would probably be about 2 hours a week.
And we're talking concentrated hours.
Yes, sitting down constantly, working. Probably, no, it would be more than that. When I figure out all the check writing and everything, it would be probably a half a day at least.
Pretty important to keep those records, isn't it?
Yes, it really is. If you don't have the records, you don't know what's going on.
Carol, what system do you use here at the farm?
We use the Ohio Commercial Farm Account System. It's put out by Ohio State University. And it's really quite easy to follow because everything follows along with your income tax forms and so on. It has all the columns that we need and places for annual summaries and crop reports, and most everything that we need is in it.
You involved in any other work, and I know you get deeply involved in the farm operation, but there's also some outside work that you're involved in.
Yes, I'm secretary to the pastor at First Lutheran Church in Plymouth, and I've been working there for about a year and a half now.
The new 8000 series tractors from Alice Chalmers deliver 360-degree visibility and a sleek new styling with big, quiet, comfortable cabs. Enter from either side and carry enough fuel for a day's work. And here's the new 390 corn planter, available in 8, 12, 16, or 24-row units for accurate, conventional, or no-till planting. See your Alice Chalmers dealer today. What a pleasure on this week's edition of AgriCountry to have the recently named top young farmer of the Ohio Young Farmers Association, and our guest, a friend for quite some time, Rick Unger. And Rick from the Greenfield McLean Young Farmer Chapter, and of course that's down in Highland County. Share with our viewing friends, Rick, a little bit about that operation back home.
Okay, I farm approximately 850 acres. About 450 acres of corn, 200 acres of soybeans, and about 150, 200 acres of wheat. We used to have a farrow to finish operation, 40 sows, but now we're just selling feeder pigs.
We talk about the top young farmer, the Ohio Young Farmers. That's a nice thing to win, a lot of prestige, a lot of good competition. You must feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, I never thought I'd feel this good, but it is a great honor. I feel greatly privileged.
And it makes a guy feel good that a lot of guys compete for it, right, Rick?
Oh, yeah, the competition is really stiff. And I tried for it last year, and I didn't make it, so we came back this year. And
you know what I'm impressed with, Rick, observing this conference and young farm couples of young farm wives and farmers all across Ohio. Even though the economic situation certainly has been better, that there's still a lot of optimism about agriculture in Ohio.
Oh yeah, if you're going to farm, you have to be an optimist. And things maybe don't look too good right now, but I think they'll improve. And we had a pretty good year ourselves. So we're real enthused and going to continue on. The biggest thing right now, learning to live with high interest. This is one reason why we cut back our hog operation. We used to run 190 sows, farrow to finish, and with the high interest and everything, we couldn't make any money, so we cut back and trying to do a better job with what we have now and hire less labor, just like everybody else, trying to cut expenses and trying to be more competitive.
Rick, again, congratulations to you. We've been talking with Rick Unger, and recently named the top young farmer in Ohio by the Ohio Young Farmers Association, and of course his operation in Highland County, not too far from Greenfield, Ohio. So good to have you with us today. In fact, if you have any suggestions of family farms that you would like for us to feature on AgriCountry, drop us a note to ABN TV, 1819 West Lane Avenue, Columbus, Ohio 43221. We'd love to hear from you. Next week here on AgriCountry, we're going to show you the difference between a rotary combine and a conventional combine. Then we're going to travel into southwest Ohio to the farming operation of Roger Ronimus. And also next week, we will visit with Roy Becker of the Ohio Ag Council and talk about the Ohio Agricultural Hall of Fame. Join us next week for AgriCountry.
Thank you for joining us today for AgriCountry with Ed Johnson, brought to you in part by Alice Chalmers and your local Alice Chalmers dealer. AgriCountry recognizes farm families who produce daily our abundant food supply.